Hello guys, it's Ryan here with HobbiesofaMan once again, and today we're doing another Out of the Beginning review. Today we're looking at arc number 9, which is contained in the last 2 chapters of volume 9 right there, and the vast majority of volume 10, all the way to that portion right there. It's chapters 46 through 45, it's chapters 46 through 52, sorry. I don't know what happened there. This is written by Masami Yuki with art by Tetsuro Kabahara, and of course it's done in collaboration with Tezuka Productions, with the Tezuka family overlooking what this is, right? These are published by Panini Manga in Mexico, but you can buy them here in the States. They are released by Titan, and it's in English, obviously. These are in Spanish. And I bought these a few years ago, basically, so by the time I was halfway through collecting this, it was started to be printed in English, and I didn't feel like waiting to catch up, so I just kept buying it from Mexico. So, let's see. The demographic here is adult. It's a seinen publication, and the genre here is sci-fi. It has a lot of action elements here, especially this arc, but I wouldn't necessarily say that this is an action manga, if that makes sense. And in terms of adaptations, it does have an adaptation. The anime is, I think, 12 episodes and only covers the first 3 volumes, which is basically just the introduction to the characters and Adam and A106 and what would eventually become Astroboy, right? At that point. So these parts of the story are not covered in the anime. I don't think they're gonna do another season of the anime. I don't think it was something that they were planning to do anyways. I think it was mostly just to remind people, hey, this manga exists, right? And I think it did pretty well because there's 17 volumes of it now. So ratings wise, it's a 5 out of 5 for me. I thought that was a great chapter, a great part of the story, and it finally gets to the point, right? Like, why is this a prequel and a retelling and a reimagining, and how does it connect with the original Astroboy story? This is what is explored here, right? So the premise here is that we see Grandpa, Ochinomizu's grandpa, who alongside Adam, or A106, go to look for this boy robot that he had met in his youth, and end up in a weird, crazy situation. It almost feels like they're uncovering a hidden governmental system or whatever. It's kind of like, the concept is basically, what if an old man and his buddy ended up accidentally uncovering Area 51? That's more or less the concept behind this, right? But of course, it's not Area 51. It's not in the US. It's in Ho Chi Minh City, or near Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. And it's a robotics lab that they accidentally find and have to deal with, right? So, yeah, I don't really have a name for this arc. I guess you could call it Finding the Boy, right? Finding the Boy Robot. Or maybe, the Giant Dome arc or something like that. I don't know. The plotline here opens up with Brenner and North, Brenner being a Scottish scientist that's friendly with the Lab 7 boys, and North being his robot, who is this kind of like siren character. And they fly into this giant dome. They realize that it's abandoned, and then bam, they get attacked by these creepy robots and a samurai of some sorts, this character right here, and they are swallowed up by this swarm of robots, and we don't really know what happened to them for the vast majority of the rest of this arc. We move back to the Lab 7 boys. We see that Ochinomizu is healing. The director of the hospital that shot him got put in jail, and his grandpa and A106 are off on the search for the robot boy while he heals up. They decided that he should probably just stay at Thames Infirmary and just heal up there while grandpa goes off to search for the stuff that he was looking for. And Ochinomizu and Umataro are having a good conversation with each other, right? We transition over back to Grandpa, who is also having an easy conversation, a really nice time talking to A106, when A106 suddenly stops and says, I hear a weak signal, but I don't know what it is. And so they break into this dome, which is exactly where Grandpa wanted to go anyways. And then wham, they get attacked by the creepy robots again. But the creepy robots don't have the ability to attack, actually. They can only swarm them because they're out of ammunition. They have these guns that are attached to their bodies, and they can no longer shoot them because they don't have ammo. but they work as the eyes and ears for this samurai robot. And he can attack because he uses swords, right? And he has special swords that can cut through metal, that can shear metal, I guess is the right word there. And it's excited because it can see that Adam can fight him properly. And it introduces itself as the 1000 hecaton maiden, who is basically the 100-eyed robot god, essentially, is what it kind of means. And let's see if I can show you what that looks like. Here you go. And after this, the robot, the hecaton, takes Grandpa, and Adam has to hide. He decides that he cannot compete with the robot at this point. He has to hide away. He was hurt slightly. The front of his toes was cut off. And so Adam hides and he scurries around the giant dome as Grandpa's taken away to some area. And while Adam is hiding and looking through this dome, he finds North. And it turns out that she is kind of in pieces, sort of. And she is the one that was sending out the signal. And he found her. He gives her some of his battery power because that's what she needed. And we get to see that Grandpa was thrown in a jail cell alongside Brenner and Suki. Suki being the daughter of the director of the PhD program that Uchinomizu and Omotaro are part of. She was introduced earlier in the story. She was like a special agent for like Interpol, I think. And she was supposed to be doing something here, but got captured, and she's been weak because she hasn't had any food. And Brenner was trying to help her get back on track, get back to a healthy weight and stuff like that while they were in this jail cell. And it turns out that Gramps and Suki's dad are old friends. They used to work together on robotics. Eventually, they had a misunderstanding or a reason why they decided not to work together anymore. Uchinomizu's grandpa decided to go on and meet the boy robot and develop the nerve programming language. And the father of Suki decided to go into biomedical applications for robotics, right? And that's where they split. That's why Suki has a robot cyborg thing on one of her eyes. And it's all basically explained here to us, although it was explained earlier as well. So it's just a lot of reiteration that I find meaningful and useful as someone that doesn't read this, back to back, right? We come back to Adam's point of view here. We see that he's slowly destroying all of these weird, creepy robots. And every time he does destroy one, he's taking one of Hayden's or Maiden's eyes away, right? He is destroying his ability to see because this guy, for whatever reason, doesn't have his own optic sensors, right? And we see that Grandpa and company escape. Adam is charging, and he gets more power to take to North, right? Then Hayden or Maiden finds them. He finds North and Adam, and we have an awesome battle here. It's really, really awesome. It's really well coordinated. It's really great because it's not just about the fight choreography, right? At this point, a lot of the battles are also about ideological differences in a sense, right? And Maiden happens to be sort of like Mars in the sense that he has a prime directive. His prime directive is to defend. Over time, that has turned into just him wanting to battle and choosing, life or death. And Adam's philosophy of basically communication and pacifism, right? And so they directly clash. They have to fight, and Adam is initially winning, but he almost ends up losing because he can't. He just doesn't have the attack power or the necessary weapons to beat Maiden, even though he has a better processing power and he has more or less better abilities than him. He actually doesn't have anything that can harm the Hecaton Maiden all that well, right? And as he's about to lose, Mars shows up at the last second. He kills the Hecaton Maiden, and he blames Adam for this. He says all of this death, all of this crazy, weird shit that's happening is all your fault. And Adam doesn't really understand what the heck this means. Like, why is it his fault, right? And Then we transition over to Suki and company, who find files in this dome. They finally access what they needed to find, and it turns out that the boy, the robot boy, was here. He was taken out of the water, where he ended up kind of losing battery and just crashing into the river. And his name is Astro, or actually his name is Tobio, right, or Toby. And he was made in 2003, and that's impossible because technology necessary to create him would have not existed in 2003 in this timeline of the story, right? And so how did this happen? What is going on? And this is the big reveal of the arc. Everyone makes it safe out of the dome except for Maiden, who got killed. Mars disappears, and everyone has a good interaction here to end the plot line here. In terms of characters, we get introduced to the creepy robots. We get to see the Hecaton Maiden, who is... I really like this character because they almost have like a mythological vibe to them, which I guess a lot of these robots do, right? Mars is the god of war, and he is like the best version of the Balts. We get to see that Adam is basically Prometheus, right? He is the modern Prometheus in the kind of Frankenstein sense. He is the new evolution in like reality, or I guess you could say in intelligence, right? So the Hecaton Maiden reminds me of the, what are they called? The Hecaton treats, like the 100-eyed giants from Greek mythology, right? Although they weren't necessarily warriors, I don't think. He reminds me of that, right? Alongside some, Eastern inspirations there from him looking like a samurai and stuff. And you could say that North is some sort of like North Wind kind of character, right? And she has like a siren body, so she looks like a mermaid. And that also kind of works with the Greek mythology kind of thing, right? And in terms of character work here, we get to see that the Adam and the North potentially have some sort of romantic subplot starting here, where Adam finally confronts her. He's like, hey, when we first met, I wanted to talk to you and you never answered me. Why is that? I know that you have the ability to do so. And she kind of wants to say something, and it kind of is implied that she was shy. And whether she was shy because she'd never talked to anyone before, or she was shy because she finds Adam attractive in some way within the advance of an intelligence from interacting with him, I don't know. But it does almost have this kind of like school kid romantic crush vibe to it that I really appreciate. I think it's interesting that this was added in, right? And we meet Suki again. We get explained that her dad and Grandpa Uchinamizu were buddies, but they went their separate ways because of a disagreement, right? I already explained that before. In terms of world building, we don't really get too much in terms of like what's happening in the story. Like, we understand that there was some sort of secret military kind of operation here in Ho Chi Minh City that dealt with the advance of robotics, but mostly the important stuff here, I think, is actually at the end of volume 9, where we get explained to us, what is this, right? Let me see if it's here, or maybe it's at the end of volume 10. No, it's here at the end of volume 9. It's about the past and present of Astroboy, right? And we learn that Adam the Beginning is a retelling, and it's an alternate universe, and it's also a prequel, which is what I've constantly said every time I introduce this. And so Astroboy is both from the past and from the future, and you can almost argue that Astroboy that shows up in this arc is the one from the original Tezuka work, that he ends up kind of coming into this alternate reality and affecting the way that robotics expands throughout the world. And that's why this new version of Uchinamizu, this new version of Umataro, are the ones that are working to create him, right? And that's where A106 comes in, where he is the original version that would eventually lead them to create the Astro Boy, right? The version that would be a boy, right? So that's really cool. I really appreciate that. I think it's really fun. It's a bit confusing, but it works out pretty well overall. In terms of artwork here, the artwork is amazing. There is no fan service at all. There was no opportunity to it, although I guess if you're someone that likes characters like Black Widow and stuff, you will get something out of this, because Suki is a spy and she does wear like a full leather outfit that does look pretty, but it's not particularly anything special, right? It's just, your basic spy suit. And ratings wise, like I said, this is a 5 out of 5. It's really great stuff. I really enjoy the fight scenes here, and I think that it's great that we finally get an explanation to like what this story is. I mean, I already knew it, right? Because I'd watched videos about it before, and I've interacted with enough people that have read this story to know. But it's nice that the story itself, through the author's notes, give us that confirmation, right? This is an alternate telling. This is a new version, but it also connects deeply with the original in this weird kind of multiverse kind of way. So I like that. I think it's great. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Adam arc number 9, chapters 46 to 52. Let me know what you thought. Thank you so much for watching, and see you guys later.